Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. I for one thing we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, up, talking truth, bruh. Check it out. Once a cop.
Pull up a seat. You're now in Corey's Corner, where right conversations matter. I'm your host, Corey Pegues, and I always keep it right, not real. Today's guest is a man whose life story reads like a movie script. Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, he grew up in Brownsville, Bedford-Stuyvesant, and East New York, raised by a strong single mother who instilled in him the values of hard work and determination. As a young black man growing up in the 60s and 70s, he experienced firsthand the challenges of poverty, policing, and surviving on some of Brooklyn's toughest streets. At just 16 years old, he was falsely arrested for a crime he said he didn't commit. Yet despite the obstacle placed in front of him, including discrimination and efforts to keep him off the police force, he refused to quit. After winning his fight to enter the NYPD in 1984, he built an extraordinary career, rising through the ranks to detective first grade, which is the highest designation for detective in the NYPD, serving in elite investigative units and federal task force, and becoming one of the department's most accomplished detectives of all time. Please join me in welcoming retired NYPD detective first grade H.T. Harold Thomas, a.k.a. my brother. Yo.
My brother. Yes.
My man.
Oh, yeah.
One of the most anticipated interviews, man. Everybody asks me, when you bring your H on? When you bring your H on?
Yo, it's an honor
H
to
is
be
here, y'all.
It's an honor to be here, man. You done made it when you make it to Corey's Corner.
Exactly.
Believe that.
This episode of Corey's Corner is brought to you by Vodka. Vodka is the world's first premium blend, vodka and tequila infused into one smooth, unforgettable spirit. Whether you're celebrating success or unwinding after a long week, choose the spirit that's refining the game. Visit vodka.net for more. And always drink responsibly. Shout out to Corrupt Mob MC, a brotherhood built on loyalty, respect, and community. More than a motorcycle club. Respect the mob. Yo, H, let's get into it, baby. Like I said, one of the most anticipated interviews. I've been waiting. You know, you down in the Thomasville Palace. I can't get you out of there. I was going to send some snipers to come and snatch you up till you call me and say, yo, I'm coming to New York, bro. I got to get on the corner. Let's get it. You grew up in Brownsville, Bedford-Stuyvesant, and East New York during the 60s, 70s, 80s. Paint a picture for us of what life was like for a young black boy growing up in Brooklyn during that era.
Well, for me, with no father in the home, it was tough. I watched my mother struggle. I had two older sisters. Luckily for me, they were beautiful. So all the older guys, they took care of me because they wanted to get with my sisters. So they would be like, yo, little Shorty Rock is cool, and they let me come hang with them. So I grew up accustomed to hanging with the older guys. And, as far as male figures, they raised me. The streets raised me. My mother instilled in me, values and, belief in God. And, the love, she gave me the love that only a mother can give you in the nurturing. But the streets really raised me.
Wow. Similar stories. Mm-hmm. Your mother raised 3 children on her own after divorcing your father when you were just 3 years old.
Yes.
What are the biggest lessons she taught you that still guide you in life today?
Wow. It's so much, man. And my mom's been gone for about 24 years. Mm-hmm. She taught me everything, man. Like, it's just, I really can't even put my finger on one lesson. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But she taught me to not give up and not to be a quitter and to follow through. That's what happened with me trying to begin my journey in NYPD. My mother, she would tell me and my older sisters, I'm not going to be able to afford for you to go to college. Mm-hmm. So she said, you're going to get a high school diploma or a GED, mm-hmm. and you're going to get one of these city exams. Mm-hmm. So she would get the chief paper. You know,
chief.
The old heads know what that is in New York. That was like a civil service newspaper. Uh-huh. It had every civil service exam coming out, and it would give you your list numbers, and if you passed or whatever. that was the information hub for civil service exam.
Mm-hmm.
And she would, she would come and hand us that paper and circle like, yo, you gonna take the test for,
Sanitation.
You gonna take the test for
Bus driver.
bus driver, court officer, and me being who I was, and I had a lot of negative experience with the police, especially later on in my life. But I had one good experience that sometimes it only take one good thing to not make you sour on something, even though that thing kicks you in the ass a lot. So I had this one good experience with the police department. I'm going to get to that real quick. And so I decided that I'm going to take the police exam. I took court officer, I took some others, but I said I'm going to take the police exam because I'm not going to lie, I wasn't an angel. I was carrying guns since I was like 13. My first gun was a pen gun, shot a little 22, but I said I might as well take this exam and, at least I don't have to worry about, sneaking, carrying a gun and worried about getting locked up. I want to backtrack to the story that, was the positive influence on me with NYPD because everything else was all bad.
Right.
But I remember I was about 6 or 7 years old. I lived 1599 Prospect between Ralph and Buffalo. Like some things you never forget.
Yeah. Was that Prospect Plaza?
No. It was a row of apartment buildings, and we had alleyways. You run through the alleyways, and on the corner was a building called the Court Building, and that's where Kazar, the leader of the Tamahawks, and all of them. And down the block at Kingsborough was the Hugger and the Jolly Stompers, and we had gangs. Yeah. Gangs back then, and they were like gangs anyway.
Right.
But anyway, I remember one day we were coming home and we're walking up the stairs, and this is, I would say, the late 60s. I was born in 63, so it might have been 69 or 70 because I was about 7. And, at that time, heroin was crazy.
Right.
I grew up seeing, Nod
right.
The guy you call the Claw because, they from
Dope
shooting up so much,
over.
they had the big hand and the open wounds and everything. And I remember we walking up the stairs, and 2 junkies come running down the stairs, and they're like, "Oh, excuse me." They got shopping bags, and they rushed by us. And my sister said, "Oh, mommy, we got one of those," and paid it no mind. We were on the second floor. By the time we got to our apartment, our door was ajar. It was cracked open.
Right.
And this was like a couple of days before Thanksgiving. And we go in the house. They ransacked the house, took everything. The refrigerator was open. They took the turkey. They took all the food out the refrigerator. My mother so upset because one thing about her, she was, she did the best she can to make sure that we had great holidays.
Right. Yeah.
So she's crying. She calls 911. 2 white Irish police officers showed up, and I never forget their face. And back then, you had to be over 6 feet tall to be a cop.
Right.
So these big guys, blonde hair, blue eyes, they come in stone face. Okay, ma'am. They flip open their memo books, and they're taking their report. And she's like screaming and crying. Okay, they took the food, my babies. I'm not gonna be able to have a Thanksgiving for them, and she's just so upset. And these cops took the report and left. I thought nothing of it. I'm like, in my mind, it's like, oh, they don't care. They don't give a fuck.
Right.
My mother's upset. She don't know what to do. About 30, 45 minutes later, we hear the police knocking on the door. That police lock. Knock. Boom, 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 boom.
Right.
My mother goes open the door. These same 2 tall, white Irish cops had shopping bags in each of their hands. And they came, stone face, and they just sat the bags down and said, "Here you go, ma'am. This is for your kids for Thanksgiving."
Wow.
Or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And my mother, because she started crying and thanking them, and she dropped to her knees. And she was, because she was, like I said, very religious. Praise God, praise the Lord, thank you, Jesus. And she's thanking them, and they left out. And that right there superseded all the bad things that ever happened to me with the police.
Well, you say the streets raised you. Looking back, how much did that shape the man you became, for better or worse?
Well, growing up in Brownsville, Bedford-Stuyvesant, and Crown Heights, you had to make a choice You was either going to be a wolf or you was going to be a sheep. You know, my mother, you know, did her best to keep me good. My mother was born and raised in Atlanta. And, you know, she was so country from the 30s, 40s, 50s. And it was crazy because everything revolved around the boy, the man. You know, I was the boy. Even though I was the youngest,
Right.
I was the boy. Like,
Southern
my sisters,
hospitality.
yeah, my sisters were taught to get up and make my plate. You know what I mean? And we'd be at a party. You know, I'm 4 years younger than my oldest sister. You know, a year and change younger than the other. And by 11:30, 12 o'clock, they had to go home. But I could stay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that right there, with her mentality of, you know, well, he's a boy, is different. I was able to stay out and be in the streets. She raised me to do the right thing. She taught me the difference between right and wrong, good and bad. You know, but once I was out there, I did things I'm not proud of, but I did things because I wouldn't even say I was a follower. You know, because my mother made me work.
It was the way of the time.
Right.
That's what it was.
I worked at McDonald's on Linden and Drew in East New York.
Right.
Every Friday they come from across the street in the pink houses, throw a shotgun across the counter. You know what time it is.
Yeah.
Stick the place up. You know, I got wise. I said, you know what? Let me put some of this money in my pocket before they come. You know what I'm saying? You know.
I love it.
You
So
know,
look, at 16 years old, you was arrested for armed robbery.
I was arrested for armed robbery, yes.
A crime you said you didn't commit.
No, this time I didn't do it.
All right, well, how
know?
did that experience affect your view of the criminal justice system?
Well, I was on my way to 42nd Street, to the Deuce, as we call it, go to the movies. We all had on sheepskins. Back then, they was killing you for sheepskin, quarter-field coats.
Yeah.
I was wearing gold when they was killing you for the silver medallion
Right.
with the Jesus piece with the ruby red in it. You know, one of my boys had a phony 45. And I didn't know he had it on him. It was 4 of us. So we on a train, and we would get the Hoyt and Skimmerhorn. A guy that we knew from the neighborhood started messing with one of my boys, and the one that had the phony gun. And they got into a fight. Of course, the transit cops come, plainclothes come, and I never forget this. And this incident also shaped me to be the cop that I was. It was 3 white guys, 1 black guy. So now they break up the fight. So now the guy that started with my friend, he's got some warrant or something, whatever. So now he don't want to get locked. He's like, oh, they were jumping me, blah, blah, blah. So the transit cops locked up my friend, and when they tossed him, he had the phony gun. But you could tell it was a phony gun.
Right.
So now we're under the impression that he's going to get a summons. So we're hanging around, wait. I must have hung around for about 25, 30 minutes. Next thing you know, they over in the huddle. They come over, and they tell us all, me and my other 2 friends, put your hands behind your back. They cuffed us up. So now they bring us into the transit station. We were at Hoyt and Skimmerhorn. And I'm like, I was just waiting for him to get his summons. Like, what's going on, And I told him, I said, I had a pocket with, full of money, which was maybe $80, $90, which was a lot back then. I'm like, I work at McDonald's. Like, I work. Right. I ain't robbing nobody,
Right. And
I remember the black cop came over to me. He was like, don't worry about it. Like, this is going to get thrown out, so don't worry about it. But I'm like, well, then if it's going to get thrown out, why?
Let me go now.
Right.
Right.
So we wound up spending 4 days locked up, because this, I spent 2 nights in the 7-7 precinct, right? A couple of nights in Central Booking, right? I think from Central Booking, they brought us to the 7-7. And I remember going in there, and guys were like, yo, give me a match. They were writing their name on the, on the ceiling and, whatnot. And I said to myself, I'm not writing my name. I don't want nobody to know I was here. You know what I mean? I said, and I said to myself, I'll bring somebody back here before I ever come back here again.
Right. Let me ask you, did you ever imagine then that you would one day become a member of the NYPD after that?
Nah, because at that time I'm 16.
Right.
And like I said, I said, I'll bring somebody here before I do that. And so we get to court, and it just tell you how these transit cops were really flaking people back then. They look at the paperwork, blah, blah, blah. And it went from armed robbery to a disorderly conduct, and they made my mother pay a $25 fine. But I spent 4 days in the bookings, you know, and you know. But the crazy part about it is, I remember when I became a cop in July 1984, and I remember it might have been my first collar or whatever, but I remember I had to transport my prisoner, and they said, "Yo, drop him off at the 7-7." And I had never been there since I was there.
Right.
You know, and they told me to drop him in whatever cell it was. It was the same cell that I was in. You know, I'm 21 now. This was when I was 16.
Right.
So 5 years earlier, I was in the same. And when I dropped him off, I just bust out laughing. And the guy looked at me like he was crazy. But in my mind, I'm saying, I said that I would never get brought back here again. I'll bring somebody before I get brought here again.
That's crazy.
You know?
You scored high in the 90s on the police exam, and you was ready to join the NYPD, but a racist investigator spent more than a year trying to block your career. How did you stay focused instead of giving up?
My mother, thank God, she made sure we got the best education we could. So back in my days when I was in public school, they started the busing. So, you know, she was like, "No, you're not going to go to the school."
Brown versus Board.
Yeah, right. She made me go to, I went to PS 130 off Ocean Parkway. You know, I went to school with mostly white kids.
Right.
I went to Ditmas Junior High School.
Okay.
It was mostly white. And I was sharp. So by the time I was in the 6th grade, I had a 12th grade reading level. But I was also rebellious. So by the time it was time to go to high school, now I'm telling my mom, nah, I'm going where my boys is. I'm like, I'm going to Boys and Girls High School, you know. But the good thing was I got that education early. So now when I took the PD test, you know, and it's funny the things you remember, it was the exam 1175. I wind up with a score of 3929, and I took the police test because back then you could take it if you were like, I think it was 16 or 17 on up, but you had to be 20 to be appointed.
Yeah.
So I took the test at I think 17, and the one thing it made me realize was that there's a lot of dumbass fucking cops. You know what I'm saying? Like, because how the hell you don't score like
it's not rocket science.
Right, in the high 90s, it was back then. It was mainly common sense.
Right.
And you
so
know,
this guy kept you off the job.
Yo, this guy looked at. I would go to the 105, and I'm from Brooklyn. And back in my days, we never even went to Queens. And if you went to Queens, that means you made it. Like, yo, you got a yard. You might even have a backyard. You got grass. You know what I'm saying? Like, you made it. You in Queens. So I didn't even know how to get to Queens. But let me correct myself. I did used to go to Queens with my boys because we thought everybody in Queens was soft. We would go to the Peppermint Lounge on Springfield and Murdoch.
Yes.
I had, you know, the little cute little yellow girl I was messing with, this girl named Inez. You know, we would go out there, mess around, and we thought everybody from Queens was so soft. When we leave there, we would go to the 40s, the 40 projects, not the ones in Far Rockaway.
Right.
We go to the, and we would play dice, and if we won, we won. If we lost, we stick them up.
Right.
And then we go back to Brooklyn, you know. So that's all I knew about Queens. So, but I had to wind up taking 2 buses, 2 trains, go to the 105 precinct.
That's what the investigator was?
Yes, they were on the 2nd floor back then. And I had a white Irish investigator. His last name was Jacks. And I think it was Stephen Jacks. And this guy took one look at me, and he just did not like me. I'm not gonna lie, I had 2 gold teeth. You know, I had an H and a friend. You know how we were back then. We looked like we jumped off a Eric B. and Rakim album cover. I used to have a 2-finger ring. You know, big
shout out to my man Eric B.
Right, Eric B. What up, E? Yo, so this guy took a look at me, but I baffled him because I was very articulate. And that's what got me as far as I got in the PD. You know? I knew how to turn it on, turn it off. And
you remember that moment when he told you, I don't want you on my job?
So this guy would do everything he could to try to get me to punch him in the face because he wanted to collar me.
Right.
And one day, sitting in the 105, he had liquor on his breath, and he told me, he looked me in my face, and he said, like, why don't you just quit? Like, he said, I don't want you on my job. That right there rubbed me so, it rubbed me the wrong way. That he said, I don't want you on my job.
Right.
Like he was the NYPD, like he,
Right.
You could have just said, yo, I don't want your black ass on the fucking white job. You know what I'm saying? And I said, well, sir, I did everything that I was supposed to do. I passed the exam. I'm meeting all the requirements. He would just get mad because I would turn it on like a white boy, like, well, sir,
you was killing him with kindness. He couldn't take
and he would just give me the runaround. One time I go up there, when we fill out the 2 packs of all that information.
Yeah.
He would always make me wait about 2 weeks before I'd come to, he'd tell me to come give it to him. So one night, I guess he was doing 4 to 12s. He told me to bring the packs. I brought the packs. He looked at them. And I guess he was so happy he finally caught something. He came back, threw them at me, right? And he says, on this one, you left it blank. I said, oh, sir. I said, that's a silly mistake on my part. But as you can see in the other booklet, I have the information. I said, if you will allow me, I'll fill it, I will fill it out now if I can use one of these typewriters.
Right.
Because the information is right here. It's just, I left it out on this book.
Right.
He's like, no, do it right. Come back and see me in 2 weeks. He just did shit like that.
Yeah. So you appealed.
Well,
in 1984, you appealed.
It was so bad back then that the Guardians was making a big deal, and they started a unit called the Recruitment Retention Unit. And that was filled with mostly blacks, black investigators or whatever. And
that's why I had Jeffrey Harp.
Right. Their job,
My
right,
man Jeff.
Yeah. Their job was to help us to get past the whiteboard. Why didn't you just make them the investigators? You know what I'm saying? So I had a sergeant, a black sergeant that took a liking to me, and he would call my investigator, and it was so crazy back then. This man is a sergeant, and this white investigator would be disrespectful to him. Like it was the disrespect was so, the racism was so crazy, and I'm straying, but I remember one time the sergeant, right, he's in the office and the guy's almost in tears. He told me, he said, you know what, Roger Abel was the president of the Guardians Association.
Roger Abel,
God
bless
rest his soul.
God bless. Yeah.
But in my opinion,
it was weak.
he didn't.
It's all
If
good.
you had a nice ass and you was a cute, he'd go all out for you. And this sergeant was so upset. The guy had like tears in his eyes. He said, listen, I went to him and I told him, listen, this kid he's going to make it. Like, he's a sharp, articulate kid, like, and he is who we want.
Right.
And he says, Roger told him, looked at him, because he looked at me, and he told him, man, why you keep wasting your time with that guy? Like, just
right.
go to somebody else. Like, look at him. And the guy said, you know what? He said, that's our problem. We complain about white people stereotyping us. And here we go. We do it to each other, And so this investigator just kept messing me around. To after about a year, he made me miss 3 classes. He made me miss July 1983. He made me miss January 1984, right? Because I turned 20 in April of 83. So he made me miss July 83, January 84, and a mini class April of 84.
Okay.
And now he says, I got him. He said, because they have a year to do your case. So either got to shit or get off the pot. So he called him up. He said, listen, it's a year. Either you're going to qualify him or disqualify him, And my investigator said, all right, I'm disqualifying, right? And he told me, he says, listen, His name was Harvey White. You know, this is my first hook. I didn't even know it. He said, listen, I want you to go to headquarters, police headquarters, One Police Plaza on such day. He said, because he's supposed to send you a notification for the review board. He said, but I'm 100% sure he's going to throw yours in the garbage. You know? And I wrote the date down. You know, it was beginning of July. And I went before the board, you know, and I got there. And I never forget, it was Chief Aaron Rosenthal. He was a 3-star chief of CCRB. It was a deputy commissioner, a Jewish lady named Helen Tanzosh, and another guy. And they were looking at my investigator's paperwork, his DD5s. I didn't know what they were at the time. Right. And they're laughing at his paperwork. They look at it, this guy's an idiot. Like, you know, then look, he writes this here and then he contradicts himself here, you know. So they interviewing me and I'm yes ma'am, no ma'am, da 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 da. And after about 15 minutes, they said, all right, listen, you're gonna go into the class in 2 weeks. July 16th class. And I remember I just got up. I said, I'm gonna make y'all proud. I'm not, you know, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna show y'all made the right decision. You know?
And look at this, 3 decades later, you not only made them proud, you made your family and a bunch of other cops that look up to you, including myself, proud. Now, HT, I know you watch Corey's Corner. We're at the Spitfire round. I'm going to ask you 10 rapid-fire questions. They're going to be one-word answers, yes or no. Try not to expand too much. You
yes
ready?
Or no? Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, ready.
Brownsville, Bed-Stuy, East New York?
Brownsville.
Best lesson your mother ever taught you?
Don't give up.
Detective shield or retirement badge?
I
wanted to hear this answer.
Retirement.
You're in the Thomasville mansion out there. Yeah, it's looking good out there.
I haven't carried a shield since the day I retired. I got a dupe like everybody else. But
I don't even carry
and I carried a shield every day. I had 2 shields, my police officer shield that I had for 4 years and my detective shield that I carried for 26 years almost after that. And I carry it every day. You know.
Toughest assignment of your career?
Toughest assignment? I really didn't have any tough to me, honestly.
Not even them shootouts?
I mean, that wasn't an assignment. I wasn't, you know, hey, you gonna go have a shoot?
No.
You know, but
but that was as an undercover or an investigator?
Undercover.
Undercover.
Yes.
Okay. Most important quality of a leader?
To me, the most important quality of a leader is when he shows you that, how can I put this? He won't ask you to do anything that he wouldn't do.
Lead from the front, right. Biggest misconception about police officers?
That they have common sense.
What does success mean to you?
Retiring and living a good life.
One thing you'll change about the NYPD tomorrow? How
they still treat African Americans, minorities. Because the sad thing about it is what I went through 41, 42, 43 years ago, they're still doing it today. They find different ways to do it, but it's still the same concept. They're still doing it. And the sad part is, when I came on, we were happy to see a black sergeant. Now you've got an abundance of black supervisors. We've had black chief of departments. We've had black commissioners. And nothing's changed. They still fuck us around.
It's still the same. Greatest accomplishment outside of policing?
Greatest accomplishment is my children.
How do you want to be remembered? One word.
One word? Loyal.
Thank you for participating in the Spitfire round. I would say legendary. Because you definitely a legend. Corey's Corner is powered by Story to Tell Productions. If you're serious about starting a podcast or taking your production to the next level, this is the team you need. Reach out to Story to Tell Productions and get it done the right way. Before we move forward, let me take you somewhere for a second. Everything we talk about on the show, power, accountability, loyalty, redemption, it's just not a conversation for me. I lived it, I've earned it, I survived it. I walked the streets, I worn a badge, I've seen both sides of the law. I've carried the weight of decisions that change people's lives. That's why I wrote Once a Cop, The Street, the Law, Two Worlds, One Man. It's the raw, unfiltered truth. about the journey from the corners of the streets of Queens, New York, to the high gloss ceilings and floors of one police plaza in the NYPD. The pressure, the politics, the purpose, the course. And the documentary, A Cops and Robbers Story, pulls the curtain back even further. No headlines, no sound bites. Just a human story behind the uniform. Because behind every badge is a man, behind every rank is a story, and behind every story is a choice. Now, a word from our sponsors.
This is not your average vodka. This is Vodkila, a decade of cultured excellence. The best of both worlds, the true taste of victory. A delicious dyad spirit, the world's finest blend of vodka and tequila. Vodkila, the perfect blend. From rooftop parties to quiet moments with friends, Vodkila brings the flavor, the fire, and the unforgettable. So pour it, share it, live it. Vodkila. Visit vodkila.net and order yours today.
Let's get back to HT. You made third grade in just 4 years, which is pretty quick. Most people wait at least 5-6 years to even get, or some people 8, 9, 10 years.
Well, actually, back then, it was almost unheard of. You know, when I went to narcotics, I had just going on to a year on the job.
You taking my questions. You were been with the producer. Because my next line
Right.
was a promotion that was virtually unheard of at the time.
Back then, yes, back then.
So what separated you from your peers and allowed you to advance so quickly?
It wasn't just me. It was a group of us. They needed us. This was in early 1985. I actually went to narcotics as a temporary undercover.
So this is right the beginning of the crack era.
Right. I tell people I came on the job 1984 BC, before crack. Okay. Crack hit in 1985. Well, that's when I found out about it. And they needed us youngsters to be undercovers. And when we got picked up to be undercovers, I got recommended by my NSU lieutenant, who I thought couldn't stand me because he never said a word to me.
Right.
And he would always watch me and stare at me. And I thought, this man don't like me. One day, towards the end of NSU, he called me in the office. I want to talk to you. And I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck did I do? Like, he finally got me. This dude, he don't talk to me. He don't like me. He just watch me, you know. And that's why I say, you know, people will fool you, man. You know, and I don't stereotype all white people. I've got some very, very good, close white friends. I got some white people that are, so their heart is pure. Like, they don't see color. You know what I mean?
Right.
And this lieutenant, I'm thinking he don't like me because he don't talk. He just look. He hardly say anything to me. And he called me in the office, and I'm like, oh shit, this is where they gonna get me. They gonna, you know, I'm gonna get terminated. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he told me, he says, listen, I got a friend who's a lieutenant in narcotics. And every year about this time, he asks me if I got anybody in my command, in my squads, that I think would be good for this assignment. And he says, you're the only one that in here that I, you know, think would be good for this. I'm shocked. My jaw dropped. I'm like, wow, I didn't think he liked me. So I'm like, oh, I'll give it a try, sir. I won't embarrass you. I won't make you look bad.
So you go over to narcotics.
Right. We go to narcotics because it's like almost like a 21 Jump Street thing going on. Like, we need young people to get these drugs because it's crazy. And when I got to narcotics, everybody there had 15 to 20 years on the job, and most of them were white shields. You had maybe 1 or 2 detectives here, whatever. So at that time, you had to have, if you had 15 years in the hook, you get the shield. But the average time to get the shield would be 20 years. As an undercover, we got what's called time and a half, investigative time. And it wasn't okay, you do this amount of time, you're going to get your shield, whatever. You know, it's whenever they felt like it.
Right.
And this was before the grade bill. I mean, not before the
track.
The 18-month bill or whatever it is, where you go now. It's almost like a perfect attendance award. You could be the dumbest person in this unit. If you last there for 18 months you're going to get your shield with everybody else. So it was unheard of to get it. You know, I had over 4.5 years on the job when I made third grade.
Well, that's good. Listen, it's super dope.
But it sidetracked me though.
It's all right. It is what
because
it is.
if there was one rank of detective, I would eventually moved on and studied for sergeant, lieutenant, you know. So it was almost like a curse because I got caught up with grade.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Listen, it happens.
Right.
The bottom line is you did your time, your career, you home now taking care of your family, living a life.
I retired with a chief's pension. So.
Exactly. I was getting ready to say you didn't do too bad.
Right.
For those that don't know, in the NYPD, the detective's distinction is 3 different grades. Your first promotion is 3rd grade, which is like, cop detective. Second grade is equivalent to like a sergeant as far as pay is concerned. And 3rd is like lieutenant pay. And you can make a whole bunch of money and make chief pensions. Okay.
Right.
So that's how that works.
What's crazy is you could get promoted the same day as a sergeant. But when you make 2nd grade, that day you go straight to top sergeant's pay. That sergeant has to wait 3 years to get the top sergeant's pay. Yeah. So now when you make 1st grade, and the guy standing next to you that made lieutenant. And they hated it. They hated us for that. He would have to go 3 years to get the top lieutenant's pay. That day, I went straight to top lieutenant's pay.
So looking back, what was more satisfying? Earning your promotions or proving to those who doubted you that they was wrong?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I was voted most likely to not make it on probation.
Hello.
Right.
Most likely not to succeed, right?
Yeah, so.
2011. Let's get to 2011. What began as an attempted robbery in Miami.
Yes.
Turned into a life or death gun battle. Take us back to that day. If you can, walk us through the details from the moment you encountered the suspects to the moment you realized you've been shot.
Okay. Well, actually, they encountered me. I'm staying at a place called the Zen Lofts off Collins in like 13 in Miami.
And this is, you was coming from a club, it's late night, right?
Yeah, it was early morning.
Early morning.
My partner, we went out there to celebrate his wife's birthday. Innocent, strictly, me, a couple of my partners. At the time, I was assigned to the FBI, NYPD, Joint Terrorist Task Force. Me being who I am and the things that I went through, I never went anywhere without bringing a gun. I'm allowed to, so I'm going to do it.
Right.
So we leave the club. It's called M2 Mansion. I've always been into jewelry, since I was a teenager.
I know. I see all the old pictures.
Yeah. So I've always, liked jewelry. So I had on nice jewelry, expensive watch. And these guys were recidivist robbers, And the guy followed me. We were staying like maybe 2 blocks from the club. He followed us back, and then he waited, And I just so happened to come out at like 6:37 in the morning. I wanted to go to the Cuban spot to get breakfast. So on the way back, he had called up his partner, who was under house arrest, had the ankle monitor on, and they were running around there robbing up everybody in Miami. And they waited for me in the courtyard of the area we were staying. So when I walk up, I see like one guy sitting on a bench like he's asleep, and the door closed faster and harder than it usually closed. I stayed here a few times.
Right.
And right away, my antennas go up, and I'm like, this is not good, And as I'm walking, I start playing like I'm drunk. And the guy gets off the bench, and he's got like a big cowboy gun, a 45. And he says something to the effect of, oh, you know what it is. You know what time it is. I got my Glock 19 on my hip, and I got the magazine. I'm cheating. I got the magazine with the 2 extra shots. So I got like 18 shots. It was the Brownsville knucklehead in me. Instead of just giving it up,
right,
and then waiting and then blasting them,
right.
I'm like, yo, I start playing like I'm drunk, and he's holding a gun down, so it's not really a immediate threat. So, and you know how they teach us to, quick draw and tuck and,
Right.
So I'm playing like I'm drunk, and he's like getting frustrated, but he's got the gun down. So I see a palm tree. I said, I'm going to get behind this tree and use the tree for cover, and then I could go at both of them.
Right.
All this police shit started going off in my mind. He was getting frustrated. I don't know whether he just got tired of me. At the same time, I pull my gun out, and he raises up the gun, and he hits me in my upper left thigh. But it was a 45. It severed my femoral artery. and I tuck and I start blasting. I hit him like twice, and I got them lined up where his boy, he's got a gun in his hand,
Right.
but he's down range. So all my rounds is going towards them. I knew I was hit as soon as he hit me. That thing spun me around.
Right.
You know, I'm wobbling and I'm mad now. And I'm, as they ran out the fence, I'm shooting through the, like he's got to be,
You shoot
like
through
you
the
see on
fence.
TV.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I was a couple of blocks from Jackson Memorial, and there was some cops sitting down the block.
Right.
And because I shot Collins up,
Right.
and they were shooting at me too. They came. My partners, them came out, Rob and Antoine, and everybody came out. And I was so messed up, and they were so messed up, they didn't even think to put a tourniquet on my leg. You know? I'm telling them, giving them the description and everything. The cops came, they kicked my gun out my hand, but it was open because I emptied it.
Yeah.
And got my ID, so now they start moving. Oh, he's one of us,
Right.
And they got me in the bus, in the ambulance, and got me to Grady. The doctor told me by the time I got there, I had half a cup of blood left.
Wow.
And I've seen people die from this same injury.
Yeah.
I worked with a guy that accidentally shot himself cleaning his gun, and he died before ESU could kick the door down his house. And what saved me was two things. I realized I wasn't scared to die because I could feel the life running out of me.
Right.
And it's harder to breathe. You can't breathe without oxygen,
Right.
And I said to myself, well, my family's going to be straight. My ex-wife, she's still on the insurance. She's going to get over $1 million.
Right.
I know she's going to take care of everybody.
Right.
And I said to myself, well, I'm going to go see my mom. And I just relaxed.
Wow.
That's what saved my life because
You didn't
if I would
panic.
have been scared, I would have pumped that last little bit of blood.
Right.
Because when I got to the hospital, like I said, the doctor said I had half a cup of blood left. And this doctor was a doctor that was he was a doctor in Vietnam. And he treated.
So you're used to seeing all
Right.
those type of wounds.
And he was off, but he happened to just stick around checking on some of his patients. Because you don't realize it at the time, but everybody gets shot in Miami. And Jackson Memorial it's like one of the best for that type of trauma. Right.
So you get shot. This is all over the news in New
Right.
York. This is all over the news. Police Commissioner Ray Kelly at the time ordered you to be airlifted from Miami back to New York.
Right. Well, at that time, I was well-liked. I was loved.
Yeah, airlifted.
Right.
And I think they made it line of duty.
They made it a line of duty.
They made it a line of duty.
Immediately.
Because you took police action.
Right.
They fly you into New York.
I stayed at the hospital in Miami for 2 months.
Yes.
And I had guards around the clock and everything. And when it was time for me to go, because they excellent for trauma.
Right.
But I caught MRSAs. It was bad.
So you had to get back to New York.
Right. They put me on a
rehab.
G5. My first time on the damn G5. It was the worst ride ever. And brought me back. But of course, as you know, in NYPD we got haters, and the haters started. Oh, he was out there bodyguarding somebody. He was out there doing this. He was doing that. And we had Campese was the chief of IAB, and he was a weasel.
Right.
And he sent teams down to find anything they can to fuck me.
Right.
And I remember I was told that the chief of Miami PD, when they came to him and they asked him, like, we want to know, was he drunk? Was he, and he said, did you see that scene? He's like, these fucking guys is fucking career criminals. That's all they do is rob people over here. That guy's a hero. He said, I hope he was fucking drunk so he didn't feel none of this shit. But you know me, I don't drink. I'm a social drinker. You'll see me at a racket, as we call it.
Yeah.
I have one drink in my hand for the whole night.
Let me show you this picture right here. You see this picture right here? Me and you in wheelchairs.
Yeah. In the wheelchairs in NYU.
NYU Fisk Institute Rehab. So this is the time they fly you to New York. You eventually go to the Fisk Rehab on 23rd and the west side, on the east side. They don't, they knocked that building down. But I had the 2 back surgeries and ended up doing rehab.
You came there a couple of days after the tornado, after the earthquake.
Yes, I come into the house. They sent me. They said you're gonna do rehab. I go in.
I'm running that place by then.
Oh God, it was the craziest. I go in there. And they see the picture, me and you in wheelchairs, which you don't even imagine. When I get to the hospital,
I'm like, put him in a room next to me.
Yeah,
That's
you're
my
like,
point.
yo, yo, see, you here? What you doing here? Let's go. You giving me all this stuff to eat, food. You telling the nurses, that's my man. We good. It was like,
but let me say this.
Give him the big room over there.
But let me say this because you won't say it. That was a very, very trying time for you, for my guy, because he was hurt so bad that they thought he might suffer from paralysis.
Yeah. Nah.
And he would be in such pain at night. And my brother, and not taking nothing from my brother, would be crying in pain, man. And I would try to talk to him, and he didn't know whether he was going to ever be able to walk again.
Yeah.
And that was a line of duty from Juve.
Yeah,
right?
from Juve.
Right.
But what's crazy is we had the hospital going. The nurses was crazy. We was getting visitors 24 hours, and I'm trying to tell the nurse, like, yo, you gotta understand.
Right.
We cops, we got 3 tours. We got 3 tours. But listen, I'm glad we both made it out.
Yes.
And we're here to sit on Corey's Corner. And I know you got to catch a plane, so we're going to run through this.
It's so much to touch base on, man.
There's so many levels to
it.
And
I want to, we ain't going to be able to touch on it now. But, I want to get on these Uncle Tom cats, these modern day house Negroes.
Oh, they running around.
You know what I'm saying?
After that shooting, it was so traumatic. Did you ever even experience fear, PTSD? Did you have nightmares?
They told me that in my sleep, I used to be pulling, I would live every night. I would relive it. And they knew that it was the incident because I would be shooting. I would be pulling my fingers like I'm shooting.
Wow.
It was tough, man, but it don't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
It don't bother me as much as when I see things about 9/11, because I got there just before the second tower fell. I suffered from a lot of 9/11 injuries. I had prostate cancer. I had tumor, had to be removed. I had a lipoma in my neck, and I'm lucky because I have a lot of friends that suffered really bad and passed away.
We still.
And all they had to do was cut me and take something out.
Yeah.
I'm not the same, but...
I'm Rodney Harrison, former police commissioner of Suffolk County Police Department and former chief of department of the NYPD. Check out Corey's Corner on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
2012, La Marina, all summer. You're La Marina.
Yes.
Shout out Fernando Mateo.
Fernando,
my
yes.
guy. Missed that spot, man.
Right.
So you're leaving, and I think you get caught up in, they try to pull you over in the DWI checkpoint.
No. All right, what happens is I'm at La Marina with my friends, and I'm recovering from...
This is a club that was in Washington Heights.
I'm recovering from being shot.
Right.
So they're trying to get me out the house because I've been out sick for almost a year,
Right.
And I've had numerous surgeries after being... I've probably had about 20, 25 surgeries.
Right.
I'm recovering. So they, come to La Marina. So I get to La Marina. I had just bought a brand new white Cadillac Escalade, 2012. I parked on the sidewalk, and I'm assigned to the Joint Terrorist Task Force. I have a pool plaque.
Right.
Not a pool plate. Not a plaque. I have a pool plate.
Right.
Which usually is carried by executives, or you have to be in a specialized unit.
Right.
It's an official parking plaque.
Right.
And I put the plaque in the window. So now, there for a few hours, I'm my usual self. I'm not drinking. I'm out there socializing. Chicks. La Marina was the shit. You know what I mean?
All summer.
So, as I'm walking to the car, my friends, they're asking me about the new Escalade I got. So I put the auto start on, right? And I showed them, go look at it. There's a white cop standing by my car, and he looked at the plaque, and it's almost like he's like, I'm going to see who the fuck has this plaque.
Right.
So I walk up to the car. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And he's looking, and he look at me. He look at the plaque, and now his fucking head is spinning. Like, I got on jewelry. I'm looking like I'm looking like a rapper. I'm looking like the rest of these. And he's like, he can't comprehend
right.
how the fuck I'm got my car parked on the sidewalk and I got a plaque. So he's And I'm like, can I help you? Like, you know,
Right.
and he's like, oh, who are you? You know, and I take out my shield and ID
Right.
as I've done for, at that time, 28 years, because I've been in plain
1,000
clothes
times. Right.
the majority of my 28 years. And believe me, my biggest fear in the streets, doing, you know, narcotics, central robbery.
It
you
wasn't
know,
the streets.
It wasn't, I'm not scared of another black man.
Right.
My fear was to get shot by one of my coworkers because they see a black,
Edwards,
right. I've
Desmond
seen it, right.
Robinson.
And
Right.
that's always been my biggest fear. So my pet peeve, and when I'm training people, was to make sure that people knew my shield and my ID card was like a stop sign. Like, yo, stop. You ain't going to rough me up. You're not going to beat me up. Stop, stop. You know, so it was instinctively, I would always, you know, show my ID. So now somebody caught a picture. I'm standing there like this, showing this rookie my shield and ID. And now he's standing there and he still can't comprehend. And another cop walks up, and as he's standing there, I'm thinking it's over.
Right.
So I go under the seat and I get my gun because I didn't bring my gun into the
Right.
club. And I put my gun in my waist. And now he's like, you know, he don't know what to do. And now another cop comes up, and you know, it's always the John Wayne.
Right.
What's going on? You know, they had just had a big 13, a big 85 with some guys, so they all riled up. So he goes, he's got a gun, he's got a plaque, you know, and I'm still showing him my ID,
Right.
you know. So now the guy comes and he says, give me your ID. And I was trained by 50s, 60s, 70s cops. You don't never give. I heard the stories about how they would be on the Southern State Parkway and the white cops would take their shield and ID and throw it in the fucking grass,
Yeah.
you know, and drive off because they're pissed. So I was taught never to give the ID. I'll display it for you.
Right.
You want me to take it out and show you the back?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, here, I'm not giving you my ID. So the cowboy comes, and like I said, I'm still recovering from being shot. I can hardly walk. So now this guy's roughing me up, flipping me all around, and I'm trying not to get injured more than I already am. And my son comes up, he's pissed off. I'm telling him to chill out. He's upset, and rightfully so.
Of course.
Now they're rough, and I knew what was going to happen.
Right.
I'm begging him, please. I'm laughing because they got me in cuffs. I'm bleeding. I'm like, they're going to be in trouble. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm telling my son, like, yo, it's okay.
Right.
Chill. But he was upset. He wilded out. They beat him up, locked him up. So now, as I stated, the car's already running because I turned on the auto start to show my friends the car. So now they call it 13. Everybody comes in, you know, and typical NYPD, when they fuck up, instead of saying, you know what, we fucked up. Let's dial this down and, you know, get this under control. They start circling the wagons. So now people is coming up to the 13 and they see me bloody and they like, yo, you know who the fuck that is? Like, yo, what the fuck did y'all do? You know,
Right.
Like, you know, a lieutenant that knew me came. He's like, yo, like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, you know. So now the CO of the borough shows up. Fucking, what's his name? That he died from COVID.
Diaz.
No, Morrison.
Yes.
Morris.
Yeah.
So he comes up, and instead of getting control of this shit, you know, because I had a lieutenant came, and I'm, you know, first the sergeant comes, he's out of control. So as a cop, I'm looking for a supervisor to come and calm this shit down.
Right.
So now as the lieutenant comes, I'm cuffed. He's out of control. The guy slaps me in the head, right? And I'm trying to tell him, like, yo, listen, Lou, like, get your guys under control.
Right.
So now the chief comes. By the time the chief comes, the word is spreading, like, yo, bro, like, y'all gonna have a problem. Like, this dude.
Right.
And instead of, you know, let's go back to the house and let's sort this out. Maybe I would have been pissed, but yeah, let my son go. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'll deal with it, you know. Now they circle the wagon. So Morris comes and they goes, oh, well, he's coming out of the club. His car's running. He was in the car. According to the state penal code, we lock him up for DUI. But I never got in the car, and the car was running because of auto start.
Right.
You know, so now the Manhattan DA's office finds they refuse to prosecute. But they, you know, but like typical PD, instead of like, listen, let's walk this back. oh, we're gonna charge him with resisting arrest and disorderly conduct, all type of shit. They hit me with felonies. Right. They hit my son with felonies, and Jimmy Secreto was the 2-star chief. He calls the guy Morris and said, "Listen, this guy don't drink.
Right.
Like you got the wrong guy. Like in one ear and out the other. Phil Banks, makes a call, and they called everybody except Espo, and Espo was pissed because he's like, yo, why the fuck wouldn't y'all call me for this shit?
Right.
I would have fucking took. So I wind up having to go. I was suspended for like 22 days. You're supposed to be suspended for 30 days, but when Kelly found out that it was really bullshit, he made them put me back. And now their way of squashing it was like, yo, he got shot. Let's get him 3 quarters real quick and get out of here. So one day, they called me up, told me I got to go down to left rack. They still got me on modified. I got to go to left rack. I go see the surgeons. I'm in there for like 5 minutes. They go, all right, you could go. I left out, and as quick as I got on the BQE, I'm getting a call. Oh, this is, because on the way out, they're like, oh, enjoy the rest of your life, detective. Enjoy, It was like, yo, we just going through the formality. We got to
get him out of here.
Right. So now I'm on the BQE. They call me, oh, you got approved for 3 quarters. What they figured was once this guy find out he's going to be bringing home like almost $179,000 a year, tax free, he'll just fucking say fuck it and go.
He'll drop it. Right.
But y'all embarrassed me. Y'all had me in the paper. Hero detective arrested for DUI.
Yeah.
Y'all beat my son up.
Yeah.
They went to the grand jury and got no true bill because they don't, they want to be able to hold that. Listen, we'll let your son go.
Right.
But he went to the grand jury, no true bill, and now they're like, oh, you're gonna get 3 quarters. But you know how the job is. Oh, so yeah, you're gonna be getting all this money, but hey, just sign these charges real quick.
Right.
And I'm like, charges? I want my fucking 22 days back.
Right.
The fuck you mean? Oh, well, it's going to hold you up. You're going to have to go to the trial room. You know how slow they are. I said, I'm getting the 3 quarters.
Right.
Right? I said, I don't give a fuck. You know what this means? That'd be more 160s for me.
That's right.
Yo, I was the first guy in history ever assigned to the FBI Joint Terrorist Task Force, suspended, and wasn't transferred. Yeah. You get modified, you get transferred.
You get transferred, yeah.
I'm suspended. I got a federal car in the driveway. That's how much they fucking love me. You know what I mean? And so I stuck around. So I wind up almost made it to 30 years. I went to the trial room, fucked them up. They still didn't want to give me my days back, whatever. Then I got the 3 quarters and left.
Right.
And so then 4 years later, I got another 3 quarters for 9/11 because it was more money in it. But
so after you did all this hero work,
but let me say one other thing: the white rookies that did that shit, that perjured themselves,
right?
They did nothing to them, and that was my thing. Like, yo, these guys perjured themselves. They went and testified at grand jury. Y'all supposed to lock them up,
right?
But and the sad part about it is, here I am with 28 years on the job, with done everything that I did, and they still chose to look out for these white rookies because they white.
Well, I'm glad you're saying that because some people don't believe it.
And they, and you know what, they were coming to me. I had chiefs coming to me laughing like, "Oh, you're going to get a lot of money, man. You're going to leave with a bonus." I'm like, I don't give a fuck about the money.
Right.
I'm at a racket at Russo's on the Bay, and Espo's like, "Hey, what are you drinking, H?" Because they laughing because they know I don't drink.
Right.
What do you got in there? And they, you're going to get a lot of money. Bro, I'm like, they embarrassed me, bro. Like,
embarrass you, embarrass
and
your
then the
family.
city, right? The city wound up paying $500,000.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I never got a retraction in the paper. And still, people to this day, oh, that's why you went out there acting up at La Morena.
Well, good luck with getting a retraction from the newspaper.
Right.
That'll never happen. I know that. But we laughing all the way to the bank. So it is what it is. You served nearly 30 years, including elite units and federal task force. What are some of your proudest moments from your career?
Quick story, my proudest moment, I'm new in narcotics. I'm assigned to BNNA, which was Brooklyn North Narcotics area. We go out to East New York to do B&B. I made a buy. I think it was like a 3-piece. You know, I had the hand in hand, the guy that I gave the money. Because then back then they thought, if I don't take the money and, you know, he gives you the drug, you know. So I give over the description of the subjects. They grab 2. The last one is a lost subject. A few minutes later, they grab a guy, cuff him up. We find your lost subject, right? He was actually supposed to be the hand in hand. And back then, you know how the guys wear the uniform, you know, blue jeans, black bubble goose, black Timbs.
Yeah.
You know, everybody dressed alike.
Everybody dressed alike.
So now we do the drive-by. So this is from a further view. I'm like, okay, yeah, positive, that's my guy, because he dressed just like him, same height, same
Right.
build. So now to double check us, we get to the 7-5. I go into the squad and I look at him through the 2-way mirror, and I look at him like, oh, that's not my guy. And I tell him like, that's not my guy. I'm a rookie in narcotics, and I look up to all of these fucking guys got 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
They don't even talk to the motherfucking rookies, but they talk to me,
Right.
because I'm their bread and butter. I'm the one going out here, you know.
Right.
And I remember I'm like, that's not my guy. And they came and they worked me over for about an hour. They came, you know, his whole family's fucked up. Like, they all fucked up. They all sell drugs and da. But that's not my guy.
Right.
That's not the guy from the night. And I had to make a decision, right, at that early point in my career of what kind of cop I'm going to be, because this is going to be the defining moment of how I'm going to handle myself on this job. And I said to myself, what if today was the day that this guy said, you know what, I'm going to stop selling drugs and I'm going to do the right thing. And he just happened to be walking by, which he did, and he got snatched up. I said, and I remember how I got flaked by the transit cops and all the other shit that I went through. And I stuck with my guns. I'm like, no, they were so disappointed. They were disappointed because he was 5 hours overtime.
Right.
You know,
already know that.
And now I'm feeling bad. Like, I can't even look these guys in the eyes. I let them down.
Yeah.
So I stuck to my guns. I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to sign the affidavit. That's not the guy.
Right, that's not the guy.
They had to let him go. And it took balls to do that, you know, because.
Especially with couple of years on the job.
Right. So when you ask me what was my most defining moment, the next day we go out to do B&B. We go to the same, you know, we go to the same set. We go to this set. I do another buy. Yo, here's my subject, blah, blah, blah. And I get on the radio. I said, oh, and while you at it, you see the guy over there on the corner with the such and such, whatever he had on? I said, that's my lost subject from last night.
Right.
They went and cuffed him up. Now, the shit reversed. These guys that I looked up to with 10, 15, 20 years old, they can't look me in my face because they tried their best to get me to flake the other guy the night before. And that right there, like I said, was my defining moment, because I said to myself, I was so glad I did the right thing, because I said, how the hell would I have handled this the next day, knowing that this an innocent guy that we locked up last night? How are we going to, you know, because I'm sure they would have tried to talk me into, well, fuck it, you know.
Right.
You know what I mean? And out of all I've made, I was assigned to the Drug Enforcement Task Force, the Federal Drug Enforcement Task Force. I was assigned to major cases, narcotics, all type of shit, central robbery. I've done cases where I've got big seizures, kilos of coke, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But that right there was like the answer to your question, man.
That was the defining moment.
That was the defining moment.
If that 16-year-old kid from Brownsville, East New York, Bedford-Stuyvesant, was sitting across from you right here where I'm at right now, what advice would you give him about life, manhood, and overcoming adversity? Last question.
I would tell him, listen to your OGs. You know what I'm saying? I had my first partner on the job. I was like a father to me. Richie Wright, God rest his soul. At that time, he had about 16, 17 years on the job. And he took me as a partner. And we would ride around Bedford-Stuyvesant. We were in the 8-1 precinct. And he would tell me, you need to buy a couple of these lots over here on Fulton Street. And I'm like, what the fuck I need a lot for? He's like, yo, hold on to it. All you got to do is keep it clean, put a fence up around it, pay the tax every year.
Right.
How much is the taxes? Oh, about $300 a year. The fuck? He's like, yo, you kids, you just want to walk around with $400 or $500 in your pocket, and you think you're doing something. He said, you need to buy. And then, in my day, they were selling the brownstones for $1. And he would tell me, yo, you need to buy some of these brownstones. What the fuck I want this shit? This abandoned building. Oh, you just
Dilapidated building.
you board up the windows, you keep the crackheads and the junkies out, and you pay the taxes. He said, hold on to it. One day it's gonna be worth some money. Yo, if I had listened to this man, I'd be a multi-millionaire.
Easy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm talking 84, 85.
Yeah, I remember being a lieutenant in 2-8
Yeah.
when they were selling up.
You could, yeah. So I would tell the young 16-year-old me, the young HT, listen to your OGs, listen to your elders. You know, because that saying is true, that wisdom is wasted on the old, youth is wasted on the young. Mm-hmm. I needed to fucking have this wisdom back then and listen. So I would tell myself, listen to your OGs, and I would tell myself, when you get on that job, even though I did well, I did exceptionally well.
Yes.
I would tell myself, study and go as high as you can. And you know me. See, I looked out for a lot of people. I looked out for everybody that I could.
You looked out for
You
me.
know?
Do you remember I was on the lieutenant's list?
I remember that. Yeah.
I was a sergeant in the 8-1 precinct.
And they was hating on you.
I had Allen Iverson cornrows. I was walking with my Diddy Bop.
Yep.
And
they were waiting for you.
They was
you had to
waiting
go
for
before
me.
the candidate review board.
I had to go to the board.
The board.
Review board.
And
hold on. And you came to the 8-1 to see me. And you was like, yo, C, Jimmy Lawrence told me to give you a message. That's my man.
well, actually.
He said,
actually,
you coming to the board.
No. I got to correct you. Actually, you found out that I was cool. I was tight with Jimmy Lawrence.
Okay.
Right? And you asked me like to put in a word for you. Okay. And I remember this. I went to his office.
Jimmy Lawrence is a 3-star.
He was chief of personnel at the time.
Yes.
Right? And everybody thought that he was related to my ex-wife because her name was Isla Lawrence.
Okay.
I knew him since he was a lieutenant. He took a liking to me.
Yeah.
And I remember going to his office and I knock on the door. I got on my street clothes and secretary, I'm like, Chief Lawrence, and yeah, who are you? Like, what are you? I said, could you tell him that Detective Harold Thomas is here? I just want to speak with him. Because she looking at me like, right. You just look at you, you know. Yeah. What do you want? What with the chief? So she goes in the back. She comes out, whole new attitude. Oh, detective, have a seat, and he'll be with you shortly. And I went in. We kicked the breeze, and I said, "Oh, listen, my boy Corey Pegues. Yeah, I heard it. That was his first." He's like, "I heard it," and this guy was black.
Yeah.
But we do it to ourselves sometimes. He's like, "Yeah, I heard it." And I remember I said, "Chief," I said, "Yeah, I know he's brash. He keep it real like me." I said, "But he's sharp. He knows this job." And he would make an excellent lieutenant. He sat there twiddling his fingers, and he thought about it, and he says, "Tell him to get a haircut." I'm like, okay. We shook hands. I'm like, I'll catch you later. Tell the wifey I said hi, blah, blah, blah. I'll tell my wife you said hi. And I left. And I remember that particular day, you had just got your hair braided. And you was bragging about, oh, yeah, I got the eye. Yo, this guy used to have the crazy designs, all type of shit. You know, running around one pants leg rolled up like LL Cool J. And that's why I loved him, because this dude was me, but in a supervisory version. Like, he made sergeant, and he ain't changing for nobody. And I remember, I said, yo, I gotta see you. I want to talk to you face to face. And I had made up my mind. I said, I'm going to tell you what the chief said. And if you ain't with it, I'm not going to go out of my way to try to convince you to cut your hair. And I remember, I said, Corey, I said, I told the chief about you. I said, they ready for it. I said, but he told me to tell you one thing. That's when we met up. And because you just was showing me your hair. And I said, he said to cut your hair. And you did the Macaulay Culkin, the Home Alone. You was like, yo. And then that was it. We dapped up and we left. And I remember maybe about an hour, 2 hours later, because you must have went straight to a barber.
Yeah, I was struggling.
Right.
You had me fucked.
Bro, I remember, yo. And listen. You had just got your hair braided. You probably, that design looked like you sat there for about 3 hours. Then you went straight to the barbershop.
The most important thing you told me, when you told me he cut his hair, you was like, yo, something to the effect that, yo, we need you as a lieutenant. Don't let your fucking braids.
Right.
Don't let these fucking braids fuck you
and
getting this promotion. And that's what fucked me up.
I realized Jimmy Lawrence wanted to see how bad you wanted it.
Yeah. And I went, I go to the candidate board. It's Estevillo, Chief Estevilla, Jimmy King, remember, he never even smiled. I didn't know he had teeth in his mouth, white guy. And Lawrence. And we know Lawrence had the decision.
Right.
He's the one that's making the decision. And I'll never forget when he walked in the room when I was sitting in the chair. He was looking. You know, and he looked at me and he kind of nodded before he said anything. And I'm like.
He wanted to see how bad you really wanted that shit.
I was like, HT, it was right.
Yeah.
As soon as he sat down, he looked at me and was like, he didn't say nothing. He just shook his head and then he did his little questions.
He said, tell him to get a haircut.
But I never forget that, bro.
Yo, bro, believe it or not.
You've done that for a lot of people.
I did it for Eddie Caban. Yo.
Man, this was a great conversation, man. I know you got to jump out of here.
Yeah.
But is there anything you wanted to add before we wrap?
I just want to say, man, those of y'all out here watching, man, don't let nobody tell you that you can't do this job. You know, I used to ride around when I was on patrol. I used to go to dice games. Yo, what's the bank? And I would hand out applications. Last story, I got a million stories. I'm in
You'll
the
be back.
I'm in the 8-1, and it's a day tour, and the mail guy comes in, and he's got a stack of applications for the next PD test. I didn't know back then you could go to any precinct and pick up an application. And I remember my racist PBA delegate, he grabbed that stack, and he said, oh, man, they don't need this shit here. Ain't nobody over here good enough, you know, for this job. And he took, you know, the room in the back of the desk of the 8-1.
Oh, yeah.
And he took that stack and he threw that shit in a room where, you know, they store everything. And I just was bold. And I remember I walked back there and I went in that room and I grabbed half of that stack and I said, I'm going to find some people from this neighborhood that's good enough for this job.
Right.
You know, because I always have to remind them, I grew up in this precinct.
Exactly.
I lived on Quincy between Sumner and Lewis. I lived on Pulaski between Tompkins and True. We were gypsies because we were poor. We went wherever we had to eat and hot water. You know, and I remember I took that pile, that application, and I got in the R&P and I rode around that day. I was breaking up dice games. Yo, you got a high school diploma? You got a felony? Here, fill this out. Take this test. And I remember I'm ended on this. Years later, I'm at the 8-4. I went to get gas. And I remember a rookie walking up to me, and I knew he was new. He had all new leather and everything. And he walked up to me. He's like, hey, you don't remember me? And I'm like, you look familiar, whatever. He said, you used to be in the 8-1. Now I'm a detective. Right. And he says, you gave me the application. You told me to take this test. You said if you could do it, I could do it. Bro, I almost fucking cried, bro. You know, those are the type of moments that made me keep doing what I'm doing. And you know, I would tell anybody, man, everybody, bro, like, yo, listen, you know, don't let nobody discourage you. Don't let nobody stop you. You could do this. You could make a difference.
HT, they tried to keep you off the job. Instead, you spent nearly 3 decades making your mark. It's definitely a story worth telling. I'm telling you, I told you before, you got a book in you. It's just a matter of you telling me, yo, I need to get your agent. Let's get it right. All right, publicists, I got them on deck. Thank you for joining us on Corey's Corner. Your story is much more than just policing. You know what I'm saying? It's about overcoming adversity, confronting discrimination, surviving some of life's toughest challenges, being shot and surviving, and refusing to allow others to define your future. You, my brother from another mother, you already know where my heart stands with you and your family. I love you, my brother. Thanks again for pulling up on Corey's Corner.
I love you too, brother, and I love you for being you. And never changing, man.
Never.
For real.
For our listeners, if you found value in today's episodes, make sure you follow, subscribe, and support. This has been another episode of Corey's Corner. Until next time, keep pushing, keep striving, and always remember, it's not about where you start, it's always about where you finish. I'm Corey Pegues, and I always keep it right, not real.
Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. I for one thing we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, up, talking truth, bruh. Check it out. Once a cop.